Well, U.S. President Donald Trump has said that Russia and Ukraine would immediately start peace talks after he spoke with Vladimir Putin, despite the Russian leader rebuffing his call for an unconditional truce. Trump framed the 2-hour conversation as a breakthrough. On his Truth Social network after Monday's call, he said, "I believe it went very well. Russia and Ukraine will immediately start negotiations towards a ceasefire and, more importantly, an end to the war." And well, later, Trump told reporters in the Oval Office that he thinks Putin is ready for a ceasefire.
You previously on Truth Social implored President Putin to stop. You wrote Vladimir stop, and he didn't stop, quite the contrary. I'm curious, did you bring that up on your call with him today?
No, I didn't bring that up, but I did say it's time, you got to stop this thing. And I believe he wants to stop. Look, I would be, I think, very able to tell whether or not he wanted to or what. I thought there was a very good chance, like a 50-50 chance, that he would say, I want to take the whole thing. I didn't know what he was going to say. And then they have a different kind of a problem. But I believe he wants to stop. Pretty sure.
Now, speaking to Russian media, Vladimir Putin called the call with Trump very informative, very open, and overall very useful. He said he was ready to work with Kyiv on a memorandum towards ending the war.
We agreed with the U.S. president that Russia will suggest and is ready to work with the Ukrainian side on a memorandum on a possible future peace treaty, which defines a number of issues, such as the principles of settlement, the terms of a possible peace agreement, and so on, including a possible ceasefire for a certain period of time, if the appropriate agreements are reached.
The Russian president added that both Moscow and Kyiv should show maximum effort to find compromises that would suit all sides. Now, the Kremlin said Putin and Trump did not discuss a timeline for a ceasefire in Ukraine. Kremlin aide Yuri Yushkov said Trump and Putin are both in favor of meeting in person and will assign their teams to work on preparing a meeting, but no venue has been agreed. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky spoke to Trump both before and after the call with Putin, urging the U.S. president to toughen sanctions against Russia. That is, if it refused a ceasefire.
I asked him before his conversation with Putin not to make decisions about Ukraine without us. And for us, these are matters of principle and very important. We agreed that we would get in touch after his conversation with Putin.
Zelensky also ruled out withdrawing troops from parts of eastern and southern Ukraine under Kyiv's control, rejecting demands put forward by Russia for ending its invasion. Now, European nations, meanwhile, backed Kyiv's call for Western sanctions against Russia to be toughened if it does not agree to a ceasefire. Now, quickly after the Trump-Putin call.
President Trump and Vladimir Putin of Russia held a 2-hour telephone call on ending the war in Ukraine. President Trump called it a success, saying that ceasefire talks could begin immediately. Vladimir Putin repeated demands for major concessions before halting the fighting, insisting that peace must address the root causes, meaning Russia's influence over Ukraine. He offered no breakthroughs. Vice President J.D. Vance cast doubt on Vladimir Putin's intentions, saying, quote unquote, "I'm not sure Putin has a strategy to unwind the war. He's re-engineering his economy for conflict." So does this call highlight how far apart the two sides really remain, or is it a fresh diplomatic push for peace? Well, at the Rose Garden later in the day, President Donald Trump responded to shouted questions on whether or not if he thought Putin wanted peace and whether he thought Pope Leo could help broker it. In both instances, he responded in affirmative, quote, "I do." Susan Terwani reporting from New York for WION World is One.